I freaking knew it was Dwight. I knew it. I knew it was Dwight, that ominous figure with the crossbow. I freaking knew it. Oh, all right. Welcome back to the American Movie Podcast. This is your host, Matthew Benjamin. I loved this episode, not only because a lot of stuff was covered and a lot of ground was covered literally and throughout the plot sequence itself. We're coming to the end and we see everything connecting, getting really, really close to coming to fruition. And I knew Oceanside was going to play a factor. I knew they were going to play a factor because they just didn't have the numbers and they didn't have the guns. So I knew that was like the satellite town that was untouched and unscathed within their weapons cache. So I knew that was going to play a factor. So I was really, really glad to see that they pulled out all those guns and took over Oceanside. I loved this episode because it started with Oceanside and we got to see coral walkers. So it was really funny. I don't know why sea urchins and coral decide to nest on walkers' faces, but it just kind of adds to the appeal of Oceanside. And it's kind of interesting to see how the zombies encapsulate their surroundings. And so I don't know exactly how that would work, but it was kind of a cool touch to see that, because usually the zombies are just decayed and boring, but now they had some sea urchins and some shells and stuff on them, so it was kind of interesting. With this episode, you got to see Maggie show a lot of like long-term planning and a lot of camaraderie between the hilltop, and then she actually created a bond with Gregory as well, which was kind of interesting to see, kind of deepen that connection a little bit, because she did save him. So hopefully Gregory doesn't pull any fast ones. It looks like he's trying to make a move somehow, but I just don't know what that move is going to be. Maybe he's going to go to the Saviors. Maybe he's not. It's difficult to tell, because he does kind of have an allegiance to Hilltop still. And I just don't see him being that cowardly. I just don't. I was really freaking surprised about in this episode that Sasha was intact. She was alive and well, and which was really, really weird to me. But it made sense as long as once the dialogue with Negan and while she was in captivity progressed, you got to see why Negan chose what he did and why Negan decided to keep her, because she had beach ball-sized lady nuts. Not my vernacular, but Negan. So Rapey Davy was like blow for H2O. It was ridiculous. I was like, what is going on here? And it showed that Negan's not all that bad. He doesn't allow rape, so that's nice. The Saviors have some ethical guidelines, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting to see, and it was a huge Bowie knife. I never know how to pronounce that. I always read it, so it's like Bowie. I'll have to Google it later. And I actually really like the line that Negan just kind of laid it all out there towards Sasha. He was like, we all have shit to get over. He was like, you just got to deal with it. We can become the closest allies or the worst enemies. It was just really interesting to see how Negan plays his games, kind of the mental strategies and plans he sets in place for a foundation of a relationship, because it's basically a relationship that he might have for a long term. So yeah, Maggie saves Gregory's ass. Textbook Maggie. You know what? I really don't have any empathy towards Oceanside. They're just like this secluded area full of women. Nothing wrong with just being solely women, but it was just they're isolationist, and they really just don't want to be bothered at all. They don't want to contribute at all, so they're just kind of very hesitant to the entrance of Tara. And she tried to delegate and be diplomatic, but they just weren't having it. And then they ran out of time, and Rick and Michonne and everybody else just stealthily planted bombs all around their premises too. So that was really cool to see. That was like the most fun inside the episode, was the they lit the bombs off. Oceanside's just ringing everywhere. Everybody's dazed and confused and just kind of like dramatically running around, not knowing what to do, and then corral all of the Oceanside residents. And then the walkers come because of the blast, because the blasts were audible. So like all the walkers that were in the surrounding premises started lurking towards them, and then they all had to kind of band together and attack these walkers that were coming at the group. So it was kind of a little bit of a bond there created as well. Like, it showed that these people were good intentioned. They just had plans externally more important than Oceanside. So it was pretty cool to see. Negan warmed up to Sasha immediately, which I was surprised to see, but it wasn't out of the ordinary for Negan's character himself. I'm anxious to see what happens with that. It looks like Sasha was trying to create a plan where she was going to still somehow obtain a weapon to somehow attack Negan or somehow infiltrate or cause a ruckus and lead to an advantage of the survivors, like when they do attack, somehow contributing to the survivors' success. That obviously backfired because Eugene previously had that poisonous capsule, and then he just gave her that because she proclaimed her lack of willing to live anymore. But I freaking knew it. I knew it was Dwight. I was so glad when they opened that cage and Dwight's burn-ass face was in the corner there, and I knew it. I knew it was, because why would Daryl be doing it? So I predicted that wholeheartedly. Called it. And then I also don't like to boast or brag or be braggadocious, but I also called the Oceanside Mayhem. So that was easily the two big ones of this episode, was obtaining the guns and then Dwight's surrender to the survivors. The next episodes, what I would really do is they are pretty much in all of cahoots with the majority of the satellite towns that are providing packaged goods and just all the necessary resources for the Savior's compound. So I would create a blockade. I don't know if they have that much time or that many resources as well. It might just be as prudent to kind of go as a guerrilla warfare tactic and just go balls to the wall with your plan immediately with the element of surprise, which I'm leaning towards that's probably what's going to happen. But I would definitely, if they had the resources and the manpower, which is debatable, then I would blockade them. If you could create some attrition between Negan's compound and the satellite towns, it would definitely help them, but then the element of surprise is gone. So it's difficult. It's difficult to see what exactly was going on, but I saw the trailer for the extended episode of the finale, and it looks fucking insane. It looks stellar. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I hope it's leaps and bounds upon bounds, more action and fighting compared to the last 4 or 5 episodes, because we've been building up to this. We've been building and building and building. So I'm really anxious to see what's definitely in store for this, because I think it's going to be a haymaker. I think it's going to be one of the best finales. Yes, I'm so looking forward to the final episode. I hope they begin the attack on Negan's compound. I'm so looking forward to it. What I want to know is, what do you think Sasha should do? What do you think they should do? And how do you think Rick and the survivors should actually put their effort? Where should they go? How should they attack? What is their plan of strategy? Should they just guerrilla warfare it out, or try and create some blockade and attrition to Negan's compound, because they pretty much have everybody that we've seen who's providing resources to the Saviors, completely stall those out and see how long it takes them to become weak, and then they pounce. So yes, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I really want to know what you guys think, so comment down below. And this is Matthew Benjamin with the American Movie Podcast. Thank you for watching. I deeply appreciate it. I'm looking forward to The Walking Dead's finale next time, so please let me know what you guys think. So until next time, bye.